My wee pet, how are you doing? Your tail's wagging like a good one. And I'm very pleased to see that.
Okay, we're back at the ranch and we're going to cook up some steak. So, Sam, should we record this for posterity? I'm just going to put the camera up here. Okay, so we're going to have steak with sauteed mushrooms and onions. As you can see there, Sam's grabbed himself. What do you got there, Sam? He's got some Crafty Brewing Company Crafty Cider Irish Dry Cider, a dry cider cutting crisp and dry like our wit. Okay, so we got some supplies here. Got our shroomies, and we've got 100% Northern Ireland ribeye steaks, matured and aged for 21 days. Num num, grass-fed beef here. So with that, we're gonna have boiled baby potatoes and the garlic and the onions. But anyways, first thing I have to do is get the potatoes going because they're going to take the longest. Just going to pop this here. So going to cheat and use the kettle to get the water up to speed to boil. I'm pretty sure Sam's going to want himself a cup of tea as well. Correct, Sam?
Yeah.
So, for the steaks, we're going to be pretty simple here. Just going to, they've been in the truck when we drew it around, so they're a little bit under room temperature, but by the time we get everything else going, they will be up to speed. So, nice. All we're going to do is we're going to take some Himalayan pink salt, and on the plate there we'll just lay down a base of salt. Transfer the steaks to it. Now the steaks here, like I said, grass-fed beef, you can't beat it. My only complaint is they're maybe a little less thick than I would have at home. So I'm just going to have the salt on there, bring out some moisture, add some seasoning before we fry them up. So, new potatoes. Put you back up here. New potatoes. Just need to quickly give them a bit of a scrub. Chop them up. There's a lot of different varieties of potatoes here. I know we have several at home as well, but here the sheer number and the variety of the potatoes, how often people eat potatoes, and people saying potatoes are off, and I don't know, potatoes are potatoes to me, pretty much. So Sam's got a pretty good little ranch here. This kitchenette is all you really need, and you got your little hob, I guess they would call it. We would call it a stove or an oven, grill or broiler, and then the oven down here, 4-burner electric, and yeah, it's fun. So we got new potatoes because that's what Sam wanted, baby potatoes or new potatoes, and woohoo, nice and cheap and cheerful. So just going to give them a bit of a wash and cut them up. Back here for a minute. Everybody at home probably knows how to make this very simple steak and potatoes dinner, but if you don't, this is the way I do it. The other thing I picked up was some nice shroomies, and I had some garlic left over, so this should be enough potatoes, I would say. And if you want to mash these. They're new potatoes, so the skin's very thin. Go ahead and just throw those in there. Sam did not want them mashed because of the skin, but to me, there's a lot of flavor and there's definitely nutrition in the skin. I'm just cutting them to maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch thickness. The thinner you cut them, the faster they'll cook. I can hear that the kettle's about to come to a boil there. And all you do is add a bit of salt. And I'll show you how. So this is actually for Sam. I don't know if I'll ever get YouTube up here, but if he does, about like that. Take your fresh boiled water. Try not to get too much splashback on yourself. Cover. Get it on the stove. So these are probably going to take, I don't know, 15-ish minutes. So I want to get those on right away. And once those are on, then I will start. Oh, no, it's on. Okay. Sorry. Temporary difficulties figuring it out. And there's Sam emerging from the office. Everything coming all right for you?
All grand.
All right, perfect. So Sam, just to let you know, I cut the potatoes up after washing them to about 3/4 of an inch. Come have a look. So they're about 1 inch to 3/4 of an inch in diameter, and then just a bit of salt. And then, as you know, I had the kettle boiled for the cheat to speed up the.
I'm settled for that.
Okay. So now, as you know as well, Sam, the steaks. I've just added a bit of. What do I put on the steaks before I cook them? Rhymes with fault. Rhymes with fault.
The Himalayan pink salt.
Yeah, and that's good salt because it has the minerals and everything in it, unlike the iodized salt, right?
Himalayan
Right.
pink salt.
So, you know what these are?
Oh yes.
Okay, so now what I want you to do, Sam, is I want you to cut some of these up and cut them to about a 1/2 inch in thickness, okay? With mushrooms, we never wash our mushrooms, okay? The reason we don't wash our mushrooms is because they're already full of moisture, and if you wash them, all you'll be doing is adding more liquid to it. So if they're really, really dirty, what you can do is you can just simply take a small brush and brush them off. I'm going to get a bowl so Sam can put his cut mushrooms in there. And a lot of you don't know this, but Sam is not what you would call a practice cook. Sam's from a generation where all this stuff would have been done for him, but nevertheless, he's willing to take it on himself because he likes steak, and it's empowering to cook for yourself, isn't it? And it's also a good way to have friends over, cook them up a steak, and then they'll go home and talk to you about what a great cook that S.J. Bell is. Not only can he raise a lock of lamins, but he can also cook a steak. So, while Sam is doing that, I'm going to grab some onions. I'm going to do the onions, though, because they're a little bit more complex-ish. Steaks, as you can see, the salt is starting to go into them, pulling some moisture out.
Is that enough there?
Maybe 2 more, Sam, because they do shrink. So all that's going to reduce to about 1/3. They all shrink, right? So I was in Lidl, as I talked about earlier, and this cider was 67 pence a bottle. So that's about well under $1 Canadian. I'm just going to put that down for a sec while I get my opener. Sam, do you want some cider?
Yep.
Sam's never been that much of a drinker, but there's always time to change that. So here's Eastman multi-tool.
Just a testing operation.
Just a tasting operation for Sam. Wow, the foam tastes good. Wow, that's very tart. Lovely. Do you get yourself a little glass? Oh, you want more?
Appreciate it.
Chin chin. Here's to us. And those like us. Most of them are dead and buried. Not sweet at all. Very tart. Very nice.
Oh, magic.
I don't like it sweet. Do you like it sweet?
No.
No. Okay, so I'm going to take a pause for the cause because I have to go drain the main vein, shake hands with an employee, etc. Then I'm going to wash my hands, do some onions, and we'll get going on the rest of this prep. So part 2 coming up. See you soon. Okay, we're back, but we're just going to do a quick pause here to get some food out for the beasts. So Sam has attracted a number of farm cats, really, but for some reason the farm cat lives in coexistence with that duck. Yes, okay, kitty. Alright, there you go, guys. Back to cooking for us. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a duck. Strange enough, and the dog was out the other day as well. There's a video on that too. So, onions. Oh. Be careful, much tobacco. Okay, so onions. Basically, we're just going to take the top and the bottom off. Take the skin off, and we're going to roughly slice them. Sam, do you have a beetle collection here?
What? What collection?
There's a little beetle in the thing here. Just go let him outside, will you? So, back to the onions. The counter cam going. So I like onions. I hate peeling onions though, and sometimes they make me cry. So I've cut off the top and the bottom, and I'm just going to. Oh, that didn't work out too well. To be honest with you, the knife's not the sharpest, so. But just like that. And that's the way we're going to do it. I bought Sam some new pots and pans here, because I guess whoever was cooking before didn't realize that if you're using non-stick pans, you should not be using metal instruments at all on it. And even though I'm feverishly trying to get Sam fed here, he's got the call. His gut is saying, feed me.
You must have come on the...
What's that, Sam? So, as you can see, very rough, but these will break up nicely. In the fry pan, I'm going to do some garlic input in a bit here as well. I just want to go back and check on the spuds. Hopefully they're up to the boil. And what I've got to do is, now, when I went out today to look for groceries and stuff, I wanted to get some new pans, so I did a bit of shopping around. Now these are last year's model of 2-set cooking pans from a place called Tesco. This year's models were going for, I think it was like 15 or 20 pounds for a 2-pack. But I got these bad boys for 3 pounds each, so they will be more than sufficient for our needs. If you're coming to the UK, just let you know that some showers have like an instant heater, but the majority of them are you have to put on what's called an immersion heater. So unlike us, where we have our water tanks going 24/7, they only fire theirs up when they need them. So and actually it tends to be in conjunction with the heating being on. So if the heating's not on, you're not likely to have, and we don't have the heating on all the time either, you're not likely to have hot water. So that's why I'm just using the water out of the kettle for quick convenience. Okay, so Sam, these new pots that I bought, you cannot use metal on them. So you can't use a fork, you can't use a metal spatula. It's either going to be wood or plastic only, okay? Because the protective coating will become scratched.
All right.
The protective coating becomes scratched, that goes into you, and it does a lot of bad shit, okay? So stay away from metal tools, please. So, now, sorry, I was neglecting you. You probably could hear me though. So, we've got the onions and the shrooms. I just put the small pot on there, and as you can see, the spuds are cooking away. And I'm just going to grab a dollop of butter. And yeah, another great thing about Ireland and the UK is that, and here's like, so this would be a, I don't know, a skinny fridge at home. You got your freezer downstairs and your fridge upstairs, but like for here, this is a huge, I think the expression is big fuck off American fridge. So back to the advantage of being here though. The butter, milk, and all beef, steaks, mince, ground beef, we would call it, steaks, mince, etc. It's all grass-fed, no corn. So I know back home for it was a quarter pound of butter, you'd be paying, if you got Kerrygold or that New Zealand stuff, you're paying like $13 a half pound. So here it is much cheaper, and grass-fed, everything is just better. In North America, they've got too much corn in general, and too much corn going into animals that are designed to eat grass. So, just going to slop all that in there. Now, it's a smaller pan. I got the butter in there already, but this will reduce quite nicely. All I'm going to do now is just add a bit of salt and pepper to that. And so, where we're at now is the potatoes are cooking. I've got the other bit on, and pretty much just got to fry the steaks up, and then we're golden. So, I'll pause it now and come back, unless Sam needs some. No, Sam's doing good. So I'm just going to put some salt and pepper on the onions and mushrooms. Himalayan salt to what we got. And they have something called the pound store here, or pound land, various types of that. And unlike the shitty dollar stores at home where it just smells like off-gassing shitty Chinese plastic, they actually have some name brand decent shit. So I got this black pepper mill here for £1 the other day for fresh ground pepper, which I thought was pretty good. Oh, now I need to think about some extra veg for Sam. So sandwich with some carrots and swede, aka turnip, be good for you? Huh? Mr. Bell?
Right.
Would you like some carrots and swede as well?
No.
No?
No, don't go that way.
No carrots and swede today then. All right, well, and pasta the cause, and we'll be back with part 3, cooking the steaks. So for me and Sam, it's
Good night.
see you in a bit. Anyways, say see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Beauty. Okay, so back to part 3, cooking steak with Sam. Even though Sam's now sitting in the living room with his cup of tea, watching the news. But anyways, so the mushrooms and the onions, and I got some garlic cloves in there whole, still in the casing, are reducing and turning a lovely golden brown. And what I did was I just turned on the oven here, and I'm just going to fire them back in that pot to keep warm while we get the steak going, which will be in about 2 minutes. So now you can see almost all that salt's been absorbed, and you can see some liquid coming out. So it's going to be good. Best dollar cider ever. I would have paid $3 for it. Yeah, this is the homestead up in the mountains. There's the wee dog, who also gets along with the cats and the ducks. And there's the student.
When you get it's quite a nice feeling.
Okay, Jess.
Well, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. He likes to eat, not so much cooking, but I think I've taught him more in the last little bit than he's ever known anyways. So you don't have smell-o-vision, but if you did, you'd be smiling. So Sam, just for reference, you'll notice I'm using wood on the non-stick, and that's been at about gas mark 5 from the get-go. So, or whatever 5 setting is there. So it goes to 6, so 5, almost all the way. And yeah, fuck it, let's go. So we're just going to transfer the onions into here, onions and mushrooms, etc. It's nice and hot. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give this a quick wipe out, because I'm going to be cooking the steak at a very high heat, and the butter that I used to saute in this, let me show you. It's not a big oven, but it's big enough. Just going to give this a quick wipe out, because the butter I used, Sam, like our conversation about using, say, olive oil to cook steak, and it has too low of a burn point. So since we're going to be cranking this up to 11, because we want our steaks cooked high and hard and hot, what we're going to use is a bit of, even though it's a non-stick pan, I picked up some sunflower oil, which does have a very high cooking rate. So Sam's got a really good little pantry here. Yolan has set that up for him. He's got pasta and cans, all kinds of good stuff that he could just whip stuff up. Some, you know, even, I don't know how much bacon Sam's going to do, but, and you'll notice here, I did a video for the steak and kidney pie in a can. We've got some chicken and bacon, and another pie with just chicken. And these are 1 pound at the Poundland, and I'm gonna kill a couple more of those and do some more reviews. For a pound, you can't beat it. It's not too shabby at all. Doesn't look, smell, or taste like dog food. So Puritan beef stew, you lose. So let that pan heat up, and I'm gonna grab Sam for the actual steak cooking part, because I'm gonna let him cook it. So this will be the 3rd time I've taught Sam, or tried to show Sam how to cook steak, and I think it's time for the little bird to fly. Prep the table. Pound stores are also good. Poundland is also good for cheap chocolate. Chocolate here is so much better than the stuff at home. And those Milky Way crispy rolls are quite good. 5 little double rolls, or double packages, with 2 in each. And even the Kit Kat Chunky Bars, also 4 bars for a pound. Poundland, my favorite place, almost. Okay, without further ado, let's get, actually, you know what, we'll let that heat up for another second. We'll just get the plates out. Very, very non-formal eating arrangements. Plate, couple forks, and a couple knives.
Writing to Sir Martin, she said, to best serve the increasing
Well,
scale and
how's the
complexity
thing
of
going
work
now?
going forward.
So let's go cook some steaks, and you're cooking them.
Oh no, you blast away.
Yeah, I'll be right beside you. You do the. I'll be right beside you, cheering you on. I'll show you what to do. Come on.
That's fine, the way you three back.
The local community and members.
That's called a stalling tactic.
That's the group which now represents many of
I
those
know
whose lives
what he's
have
trying to
been
pull.
devastated.
Come on, buddy. Let's go. First day for the rest of your life.
To get to this point, but we're here.
Lead on, McDuck.
Forward now. And it's,
Can't believe it's actually coming. So this is Sam in his younger days, and this is the Tony Soprano stage self-portrait. Oh, it's not self-portrait, but I think he's looking very gangsterish in that myself. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's a hell of a hairdo there. Right, so right this way, Sam, into the galley.
Right, 2 seconds.
Okay, so do you remember, Sam, when I was saying that the olive oil would burn because it's got a lower smoke rate, right? So we're going to use the sunflower oil.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want you to put a little dollop in the pan, just a little tiny bit, like maybe perfect.
Okay.
Yep, swirl that around a bit, and you can see there maybe there's already a bit of smoke coming out of that, so that means it's fairly high. I'll just take that from you for a sec, and we'll reduce that volume just a touch. Sam's first time and all that. Okay, so see that's cranked up, nice and hot. You could put your nose on that to make sure it's hot. So, yep, so just grab a piece of steak, lay it down, and when you want to do it...
What's the far?
No, we don't use any type of metal on these, remember? So we've got a spatula, or your finger, yeah, lay it away from you. Perfect, and the other one? Now start counting 30 seconds in your head, okay? While I'm just putting the plate away. So, you're a good man. This is fucking huge.
Okay, 30.
Yep.
Over the body.
Flip her over. Good man. And the next one. Start your count all over. You can already see there you got a bit of a Maillard reaction, a bit of the light brownness coming through.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to same again.
Yep. I'm just going to grab my beverage.
Now do I flip it again?
If it's 30 seconds, you do, buddy.
Uh-huh.
Just keep her centered on the heat.
Right. Do I count the same again?
Count the same again, buddy. It's 30 seconds every time. But you can start from 0. It doesn't really matter. 10 seconds is not going to hurt it either way. Note to Sam's younger relatives, we need to get some tongs.
Sorry?
We need to get you some tongs. If we had some tongs, it would be easier to
yeah.
flip it than a spatula, but that's all we had, so. Centering it on the burner just like I told him. Oh, I'm so proud of him. So you don't need to push her down. Just be gentle with your meat. You're not beating your meat. You're just cooking it. You know what I'm saying? Sam, are you enjoying it? Are you lying? Give it another 20 seconds there, but you can start to see some nice brown effect going on there. And the reason we're flipping it so often is because we want to get it, the meat just to heat through on one side and then get it on the other before the last side of the cook gets cold. A lot of people would just stick the steak on, leave it for 5 minutes and then flip it. But, I mean, look at that color coming on there. Isn't that nice? Sam will be turning 75 at the end of the month. And,
I never learn younger.
that's right. You can teach a old dog new tricks. Give her a good while with her though.
Good what?
Yeah, give her a good 30 seconds there before we flip her again. Your 30 seconds is a little bit light on time, like that. That went down well. So, if I was to touch that, I would call that rare. Stick your finger out. Now do your test. Remember the test on your fingers? Do your test to see where that would be compared to it. So, that together, those two together, and then touch it with that one. See? Now feel it. Rare. You get it? It's rare, huh? It works, huh? Now you don't need to push down on them. You're not cooking burgers. I'm very, very proud of you, buddy. Very proud of you. Look at that, just frying off. See, now it would be better if we had a barbecue, but whatever, that's the difference. You do the exact same method on the barbecue. High heat, and then let her go. Now, let's actually count 30 seconds before we flip, because that was about 10 seconds, okay? Open that window up a bit if you want some fresh air. I'm just going to adjust this so we're right over the burner. So when you do this, when you've done 100 steaks or so, you don't actually have to count it off in your mind. It's just more of a, no, wait, just leave that. You don't have to actually count it off so much. You can if you want to, but you start to begin to get a feel for it, you know? Just like a mechanic hear an engine and they'll go, oh, okay, I think it's this and this, you know, you get the feel for it when you've been doing something for long enough. Now, if you're really daring, get right in there and do that. You can use a spatula though. It'll be much easier when we get some tongs. And you didn't see it because I was already doing it, but I used the same pan to cook the mushrooms and the onions up in,
All right.
but with butter. And then I just gave it a quick wash out because obviously when I was cooking the mushrooms in the butter it was a lower temperature. So, so if we feel this now, feel that now. So it's harder. It's not going to hurt you. I mean, you're not sticking your. It does, just can just touch it for a sec. So, right now, I would say that that's medium. Yeah, no, that's right. So now feel it with your finger.
Right.
Test it again. Medium, right? How does Jason like a steak?
Medium.
100%. So I'll just grab my plate. So if you could take. Look at him, a flipping master. A master of flipping, I mean, because flipping is kind of a swear word here. So if you could take that one out, the medium one for me. Good man yourself, just plop her on there. And then all we're going to do is wait for yours to cook more because you like yours.
Well done.
And how would that feel? What finger would we check? The pinky. Yeah, pinky. So
That
touch
one.
your pinky to your thumb.
That one.
No, that's rare. That's medium. Your pinky will be the well done. Your small finger, pinky. There you go. Now feel your thumb. Feel that, and then when your steak feels like that, it's good. Fucking so proud. Now look at that color. Isn't that a sight to hold? You know? And if you look here, just move the steak. See this little brown stuff in there? Right, don't scrape it off. But what we could do is, when we take the steak out, we could add a bit of wine or a bit of water and just get that good brownness off of it with a little bit of liquid, and then that'll form a nice little sauce we could put on the potatoes or over top of our steaks.
Right.
Which we could do if we want to. It's up to you.
What do you figure?
What do you figure?
I'm not sure.
You know the method. I would give it another 2 flips for you, just because you like yours well done. So another minute, in other words. And I'll get your plate.
What do you figure now?
One more flip in a second. We can even do a fucking little cider jus for him. Okay. So we're going to let that go for another 25 seconds or so. Slap it on the plate. I'm going to add a touch of this, just a touch, and then once I've got the liquid in there, just go gently with the basis of the spatula and bring up all that good brownness, and then we'll pour it over top of the steak. Okay? So I'd say your steak is ready to go to plate now. Amen. And then see all that brown stuff there? Just move that around with the tip of it. So you want to scrape it up. There you go. The tip. The other tip. I would just say like this. Okay. See how that's got all that good stuff up off there? And we're just going to let that reduce for a second. No, let it reduce. Right? Reduce means like burn off. Now pour it over the steak. Pour it over your steak. Sam Bell has just cooked his own steak and made a jus. Hoo-ah! Turn off the stove. Turn off the burner. Down to 0. Perfect. Take that through. Sit down. Fucking wonderful. Woohoo! Victory is ours. All right. So, let's bring it into the natural light. We have Sam Bell's first steak with a lovely jus. I will get our spuds. And we're going to dine in style, folks. Sam? Happy cowboy?
Thank you very much.
So part 4, the final bit. Well, maybe we'll come back afterwards to see how he thought. But Sam Bell has made himself a lovely steak with a jus accompanied with some mushrooms, garlic, and onions, and boiled new potatoes. Well done, SJB.
Appreciate it.
No, I appreciate you trying
Like
it. I appreciate you trying it, buddy. And
Right, what I do with it? This here.
what do you mean?
Put it in the potatoes.
The butter?
Uh-huh.
Butter on your spuds. And Sam, you may not know this, but what a lot of people do is they'll put a photo of their food. So just hang on before you get too excited there. Just going to take a photo of your food for
Right.
Insta, for Sam Bell Instagram account. So that was all cooked by, just move your knife out of the way there. All cooked by the man himself, Sam Bell. All right, now I'm going to eat too. Sam also cooked my steak. Mission accomplished.